We lost our brothers, but never lost a client. And those guys are pretty badasses. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
Well, not to mention, I almost freaking died. Like literally 6 months out of the academy. I had just finished my FTO, and I was involved in my first shooting. I got my ass beat. Okay, by this 5'6", 280-pound plumber. In the process, if you get blocked or get jammed up, then we're gonna fight our way through.
Right.
Panda 1-6, Panda 1-6, this is Badger 2-2, come in, over.
Badger 2-2, this is Panda 1-6, send traffic, over.
Roger, E4 Mafia is a go. I say again, E4 Mafia is a go.
Roger that, execute.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the E4 Mafia podcast. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Today, we have a special guest, Ken Park. Ken Park, we have a good gift for you right here, brother. Awesome. It is going to be our shirt. It's especially for you.
Nice.
And we will, I know how to contact you, so once the challenge coins come in, I will make sure that you get it.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Guys, this is going to be an exciting episode, or let's get into it. Ken, excited for you to be here, brother.
Appreciate you having me.
Ken, tell us a little bit about yourself, brother.
Nothing really exciting. I work for the sheriff's office right now.
Mm-hmm.
Started my law enforcement back in the early 90s.
Okay.
In the state of Georgia. And basically, it's a smaller department. Filled a role in patrol. Quickly rose up the ranks. Became a sergeant in the patrol division. Went to CID, did a lot of undercover narcotics.
Right.
Got certified in SWAT in 95. So I've been involved in SWAT operation as an operator since 1995. So
right.
I guess what they call me old school, OG SWAT. And then from there, I moved to U.S. Federal Air Marshal right after September 11th.
Okay.
And I was one of the original ones, not as in the 40 men, but after the September 11th.
Right.
So I joined U.S. Federal Air Marshal, flew for about 3-4 years. Opportunity presented itself, so I discovered the world of dignitary protection. So namely, U.S. State Department, high threat dignitary protection. I went to Iraq around 2005 timeframe.
Okay.
I think my first assignment was Ambassador Protection Detail.
Okay.
I believe it was Ambassador Negroponte. It was the second ambassador. The first one was Bremer. And then Negroponte came in and I picked up his detail.
Okay.
Shortly after that, he left. Ambassador Jeffers got on board and I was part of his protection detail. And from there, I guess they kind of figured I could, shoot a little bit. So they decided to send me to the Firearms Instructor School. Their version is called BFOC.
Okay.
And I went back to the stateside. I got certified, came back to Iraq, and they sent me down to Hilla. So I was a firearms and tactics instructor down there for the U.S. State Department contractor guys.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much it. And from there, I went to Afghanistan, working some other government kind of contracts. Came back. I got tired of contracting, right?
Right.
Working overseas. So I came back home. I was given an opportunity with a company called Triple Canopy. And I went to Louisiana, and I was a whips instructor. So basically preparing guys before they deploy to whether it's Iraq, Afghanistan, Africa, whatever the AO was, right?
Right.
And, the thing about the company is it's good when they have contracts and it flourishes, right? So we have a job. And so the tempo is up and down.
Mm-hmm.
So they went through a slow phase because they would lose contracts.
Right.
And by that time, I was already into it for about 14 years. I got tired of it.
Wow.
So I decided to take about a year off. I went back to Korea, kind of hang out over there, and came back, and I ran into a buddy of mine who was a major at another sheriff's office, and had asked me if I could come to his agency and help out. So I agreed to it, and I got there, and I commanded the SWAT team over there. I was in charge of the firearms and tactics.
Okay.
And that's basically it. Nothing exciting.
Nothing exciting. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Have you always lived in Georgia?
No, so I grew up in Chicago, moved to Georgia in 1988.
Okay, so you were in Chirac before Iraq.
Exactly.
Okay.
But I was on the suburb side of Chirac.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm from Chicago originally.
Okay, yeah. So you did a bunch of contracting. Some of the things I wanted to ask, because I know a lot of the guys coming out of the military, including myself, think about it. Maybe we don't know the whole entire story or the reality of it. So maybe you can expound on that. I know it's if you're allowed to or whatnot.
Yeah, of course. So the first company I worked for is a company called Blackwater USA. It's called Academy now. They've changed names several times. And the way I got involved, funny story actually. I was an air marshal, and there was 3 guys that I worked with. And one day I come to work and I don't see them anymore. So I asked around. I said, "Hey, what happened to these guys?" And of course, I can't, name their names and stuff like that. So I didn't think much of it. About 3-4 months later, I get a call. I guess I could use his call sign. His call sign was Powder.
Okay.
He asked me what I was doing. I said, "Well, I'm still flying and doing whatever." He said, "Hey, we would love to have you on board." I said, "Okay, what is it?" By this time, I was burnt out. Right, flying. I was doing about 5-6 legs a day. It was horrible.
Yeah.
So I showed interest, and he told me basically it's something to do with U.S. State Department providing protection and other opportunities. So I said, "Yeah, sure, why not?" So he said I would have to go through, I think back then it was like 32-day vetting.
That's a
Again, I had no idea what Blackwater was.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Of course, later on, I found out what really, Blackwater was. But at the time, I had no idea.
Right.
So the tempo is like this. It's a need of the personnel, I guess. So when I first got on with Blackwater, at the time, they were only looking for like tier 1 types, right?
Okay.
Now, I've never been in military, okay? All the terminology that I'm using were learned from dealing with guys with military background,
Right.
So the founder of Blackwater, his name is Eric Prince. He was a former Navy SEAL. And he decided to buy this massive wasteland up in North Carolina called Moya. It's like basically swampland, and turned it into a training facility. And I believe his first contract was with the Navy, right?
Okay.
And that's how we started off. And then, of course, the war broke out again, and they quickly figured out the need for, I think they call it the PMI, right? Private military contractors, PMC, right?
Okay.
So when I first started, obviously because of the founder was from a tier 1 background, that's what they were looking for, right?
Right.
SEALs,
Delta.
the Delta.
Yeah.
I mean, the guys with some serious backgrounds. And then here comes me, no law enforcement. No military. And the way I got in was because the 3 guys I mentioned earlier, I worked with them, and, I was okay shooters, I guess, my ability-wise.
We'll get into that.
Right. And I guess they felt that I would be more than qualified, so they invited me. So, a lot of people don't understand the difference between vetting and training, right?
Yeah.
Training is, I don't know anything, so I'm going to bring you in, I'm going to train you. Vetting is, you state that you have all this qualification, so we want to see whether you fit. So I don't know exactly what the vetting, stems from. I don't know, maybe this is like the tier 1, whatever vetting process, but
Yeah.
they never really told you how well you're doing.
Right.
You're just given a task, and they're just evaluating you basically. And that's basically how I got involved. So basically, I got in because of Powder. Powder vouched for me. He said, "Hey, I got this kid. He's freaking phenomenal, whatever. And we might want to look at him." And my class started with, I want to say close to about 60.
Okay.
And by the time we got done, almost towards the end, I think we only had like 11 left.
Wow.
So we didn't have enough personnel to complete and conclude the vetting process because the last portion was what is called the FTX, right? So they'll give you a scenario. I mean, you got the simulation guns and the whole 9 yards. So they had to combine 2 classes. And that's how strict the vetting was, right? And then I was able to complete it. And that's basically how I started. And I found out that the reason why I was able to get in at the beginning phase of Blackwater was because Powder, who vouched for me. And I didn't really quite understood the importance of vouching for somebody until I actually went through that. So, for example, if I vouch for you and then you flunk out or you fail out, then I fail. And I don't have that position anymore. That's how serious it was.
Wow.
Right. And looking back on it now, that's the kind of, situation we need here right now, because how many times you see people getting a position because of the friendship and favoritism and nepotism, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the flaw. But back then, they were truly looking for the best of the best of the best, right?
Yeah.
So for him to actually vouch for me, I mean, it was an honor, right? And then, of course, I did everything I could, to the best of my abilities. And I have no idea how I passed, but I did.
So basically, I don't. It might be still the same thing today, but I know some of the contracts they'll tell you, okay, we're looking for tier 1 or we're looking for tier 2 or whatever tier you are. But in order to get those, I think there's some on the government websites. But in order to get the, I guess, more serious contracts, it's probably a good. Do they have to be vouched for now, or I know back in you said they'd had to be vouched for back then.
It's a little bit different now. Again, it depends on the type of contract.
Right.
Right. There's, back then it was WIPS, which stood for Worldwide Personal Protection Services. And that's just one of the contracts. There were other contracts available, like Leatherneck, which was like the static, security kind of contracts.
Yeah.
There were a lot of OGA contracts, like Cobra, and there's several companies that actually go back and forth, right, winning those contracts. So it really depends on the type of contract, the type of, scope of work, right?
Right.
So that would dictate what kind of, background you need to have, right? So using Blackwater as an example, the onset, they were looking for tier 1 guys. And then Blackwater just exploded, right? They were pretty much dominating the contract in Iraq and Afghanistan. They were just expanding.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, at one time, I think there were close to 1,000 Blackwater operators, right?
Wow.
So when the contract exploded, they needed boots on the ground. And that's how the company gets paid, right? You're training everything else, that's fine. You tell the government, hey, we got 500 people. Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
But until they hit the ground, they don't get paid. So I feel like they kind of lowered the standards a little bit, right, towards the end. So, I belong to part of the Blackwater alumni, and we call ourselves the originals, meaning if you're a Blackwater operator, starting from 2004 to about 2006-07 timeframe, before they did the first name change, very high standards, right? They were looking for tier 1 guys. And if you didn't meet the tier 1, it doesn't matter. I mean, if you're like Ranger, right? Green Beret, Marines, MARSOC, and those guys were able to come in. And after that, they started letting guys with just a basic military background, law enforcement, but they were still kind of particular about vetting anyway, right? They didn't just pass anybody, but they opened up the opportunity for other military personnel, not with so much a tier 1 background, but, they still had to have overseas, experience and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
And you got to be careful with the contracting company. There are a lot of startup companies, too, that will promise you the world, but the logistics is not there. You know what I mean?
So it's probably better to go with an established company.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Right. So one thing I could tell you right now, Blackwater, obviously, Triple Canopy, and there's other smaller companies that kind of rose up to Janus Group, Garda World. Back then, when Blackwater was at the height, Garda World was doing static, right? They were smaller companies.
Yeah.
But again, contracting company just kind of goes up and down, right?
Yeah.
So I would recommend starting with more established company for the purpose of gaining experience, like foot in the door, right? And once you get that on your resume, and then you have some experience, then it's a small community,
Right.
It's a very small community. So,
It's got to be though.
right? And then you network, and I mean, if you're a turd, you're not gonna get called, right?
Yeah.
If you're a piece of crap, you're not.
Yeah.
But if you're an operator, you carry yourself professionally, and you truly are the master of your craft, and people will recognize that.
Yeah.
So, they may be in the same contract with you today, but several years from now, they might be working for some other companies, and they'll reach out to you, or you reach out to them, right?
Right.
And that's when that vouching start happening,
Okay.
right? So, I mean, how do you get in now? For me, because of the experience that I have, right? I get calls from my buddies, I get calls from my buddies, like, for example, current situation in Ukraine. Money's pretty attractive, right?
Right.
They'll call me up because are you interested? The pay's like $1,500 a day, $2,000 a day. And there's another contract that's going on right now in Israel, $1,200 for static, $1,500 for shift lead, like $1,800 a day for mobile, So it's out there. But if you're new coming out of the military, unless you have people that while you're in the military or through friends who could vouch for you, then I'm sure you could get in it as long as your skill set supports it.
Right.
But if not, and you're brand new, you just got out of the military, you want to get into contracting, then you have to start from the beginning, basically.
Yeah.
right?
Get your feet wet a little bit and
Absolutely.
get your
Yeah.
name out there.
Right. And once you get your feet wet and you understand, and again, I emphasize you're not a turd.
Yeah.
People recognize you, and then you have a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So I guess what would be let's do 1 and 1. We'll do what's the best thing that happened. Like, do you think that's the best pro of doing contracting, and what do you think the worst con is?
I mean, money's the best, right?
Yeah.
Think about it. Back in, in the early 2000s, there aren't that many people in the military or law enforcement that were making six figures, right?
Yeah.
And then
Hell, there's not that many
the
people doing
bottom,
that now.
the bottom, we call it the window licker, right? That's
Yeah.
like the regular, just basic PSS, all right? They're making $550 a day. So do the math. You're talking about 15,000 every month,
Yeah.
right? And this is in the early days, right? The
Right.
beginning of 2000. So the money, I absolutely
For sure.
it's
Yeah.
great.
I think that's what makes it most attractive. To people.
Absolutely. But of course, danger follows, right?
Correct.
There's a reason why you get paid that much.
Yeah.
I mean, we lost 40, close to 50, three of them that I personally know, right, or knew rather.
Mm-hmm.
Never lost a client. That's I guess the biggest takeaway about the company called Blackwater. We've never lost a client. We lost our brothers, but never lost a client. And those guys are pretty badasses. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
I don't know about the later on because I left to different AO, right?
Yeah.
But when I started for the first few years, I mean, these guys were
Top notch.
scary good.
Yeah.
I was thoroughly impressed, right?
Yeah.
But the pro is definitely the money. The cons, obviously, it's very dangerous. Definitely could lose your life, or get seriously injured where you're disabled. The insurance program, there's none, right? They will give you $1 million life insurance, back when I started,
Yeah.
but there's no health benefits. It's 1099, so you have to freaking pay taxes. I believe last time I checked, recently, you not only have to pay taxes in the U.S., you also have to pay taxes to the host country that you're working for,
Oh.
right? So
Really?
they'll screw you on taxes. But there's a 330 rule, which is if you stay out of U.S. 330 days out of a year, I believe you're not taxed on your first 95,000, right?
Okay.
And then, and anything after that, you pay taxes. And there are a lot of people doing a lot of different things,
Yeah.
depending on who you're working for, what type of contract you're on,
Right.
Of course, there's tax situations that I'm not going to discuss, but
For sure, yeah.
there were years where I didn't really have to worry about it.
Yeah. So how long is one contract
So
generally?
the way the company does is they'll get a 5-year contract, and what they do is review every year. That's how the government has it. So the company will get a 5-year contract, and then at the end of the year, if they're not satisfied with it, then there's a clause where the contract goes to another company.
Right.
So, like for example, the beginning phase of Blackwater, there were 3 companies. There was Dynacor, and Triple Canopy, and Blackwater. Blackwater being the largest.
Right.
And Dynacor was the other half, and Dynacor lost the contract, and Blackwater ended up absorbing all that, and that's when it just exploded because they had to man all those, AOs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Triple Canopy was a smaller outfit back in the day, comprised of maybe right at about 100, I guess. And then, of course, Triple Canopy kind of rose. And then the situation happened with Blackwater in 2009 where they lost the contract and the Triple Canopy took over.
Gotcha.
So it's always the same kind of people and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
And so, and they bid on these contracts to get them,
yeah, I mean,
essentially.
yeah. So once you're in, if I'm not mistaken, the U.S. government has basically all the approvals of all these other companies. You have to be on GSA schedule. You have to have some sort of proven track, and it's just. I'm pretty sure there's a heavy lobbying going on.
Yeah.
Too, right. Heavy lobbying.
Probably.
So it seems to me like it's always the same companies just switching contracts back and forth.
Okay. It sounds like it is a lot to get into if you're just getting out the military to try to figure out if you're gonna do that. I know that me and Rosa was my best friend in the Marine Corps.
Mm-hmm.
We were thinking about it, but it was just for us, the contracts at the time were a year out. So it was right under a year. The money, obviously looking no tax, and the money was good, but we had like mom and dad, family. Telling
and that's
us we don't
another
wanna
thing
do
I
it.
wanted to, I guess, elaborate a little bit. So obviously the pro is always going to be the money, right?
Yeah.
You're going to be making money like you've never seen before. And then obviously the cons are, it's dangerous as hell.
Yeah.
If you have family, oh my God, it's bad.
Yeah.
If you have children, it's really bad.
Yeah.
The way I was communicating with my daughter and my son, they were little at the time. We used Skype. Unstable internet, you guys know how it is.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I have to bribe the IT guy to come over and boost my signal up a little bit. So it was really hard. The hardest thing was when I would come home, during R&R. We get, 30 days, right, at the time. And I would spend 30 days with my daughter, and I would just bombard them with gifts because, money's not a problem, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then it's that time where I have to go back. Oh, it's miserable.
Yeah.
It is absolutely miserable. So if you have children, you have family, it's bad. If you have wife, I wouldn't recommend it because they'll definitely cheat on you and
Yeah.
take everything you own. And when you come back, you ain't got jack crap. I've heard stories, the things that you see on the movie, like the military guys, the what is that, Dear John letter?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
It's seriously, it's true. I mean, I've seen guys, even on the contracting side, their wives, they come home and the house is not there anymore. Car's gone.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy crap, bank account's drained. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And I'm pretty sure it's kind of hard on the wives too, right? You're not
Oh,
knowing.
yeah.
It's got to be.
Yeah. So I wouldn't recommend it for married guys with kids.
It definitely. I mean, I wouldn't
Definitely
say that it's as I don't justify their actions of taking all your shit and
course,
leaving.
of course.
But it is hard for sure.
Yeah.
It's kind of
bad.
like any deployment. I mean, we've seen it just on our 6 months,
Right.
7-month rotation.
Yeah.
Dude comes back. Johnny's done got his wife. There's no money. All the deployment money, all the combat pay is gone.
Exactly, right? The rotation wasn't bad, though. Back when I started, it was 60-30. So
Okay.
60 in country, 30 off, right?
Okay.
But if you decide to stay, you get bonuses.
Yeah.
Because they were short, with
Sure,
personnel.
yeah, right.
So on my first contract, I stayed there 6 months straight, and let me tell you, I thought I was gonna go fucking crazy. And it was the hardest, right?
And that was
You get
Iraq.
Huh?
That was
in
Iraq?
Oh
Yeah.
my God, yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing to do, literally.
Yeah.
There's absolutely nothing to do.
Yeah.
You're in the green zone, and then you go on mission, you go out to the red zone, and you come back to the green zone, and basically, the only thing you have is the gym.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I hit the gym. I mean, believe it or not, 2-3 times a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, we had PX and all that stuff, right? So we would go out there and buy like the game consoles and stuff.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, we were hated by the fucking soldiers then.
Yeah, of
They
course.
see us come into PX and we're walking out with like thousands of freaking dollars worth of merchandise. They're looking at us like, what the hell?
Yeah.
You could only watch so many movies because we get a lot of hot copy movies and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys passing around 500 gigabyte freaking hard drive with porns and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But you could only watch so much, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it was crazy. I mean, oh my God, I've never experienced anything like it. Right?
Yeah.
That was my first contract, but that was kind of hard for me.
So I was going to ask, like, when you mentioned the contracts that they do receive, and let's just say it's a 5-year contract that they get to keep, is there a term on how long you're able to do that, or
Yeah.
you can
There's no
say
term.
okay.
No, there's no.
So
term.
if you wanted to, you could stay out there for 2 years straight.
Absolutely,
If you wanted to.
if you wanted to.
Wow.
But I think I know this one guy. Yeah, he literally stayed 12 months straight, and I thought it was crazy. I mean, seriously. I mean, he would just stare up in the sky and just like, what the hell? But yeah, I mean, but if you stay 12 months, I mean, you get 12 months worth of pay.
Right. Right.
When you go home, back then you get what is called the retainer, pay.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of $500 a day, they will give us $300 a day.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the way to ensure that you're going to come back to the same
Okay.
company. But now it's different. I mean, they don't pay damn retainer pay, because there's so many companies out there. There's so many opportunities. I think depending on the company, that might give you like maybe $100, $150 a day while you're home or, during your R&R.
Yeah.
But back then it was pretty nice. I think I got $300 a day, even during my, leave.
Mm.
That's not bad at all.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. You need to start with a legitimate, established company, right?
Right.
But yeah, it's really hard.
So So when you were out there, you had more downtime than anything.
Oh my God, yeah.
So they didn't like they didn't enforce or have anything planned to where y'all had something to do.
No.
Daily?
So when you go to Iraq under WPS, you have the two main element, right? You have the ambassador protection detail. So your movement happens based on his schedule.
Okay.
So what happened to the rest of 2, 3, 4, 500 freaking Blackwater guys? Well, they have different clients that they serve.
Okay.
Right? The USA people, like
Yeah.
the liberals. I don't know whether I could say that or not, but
Yeah.
The reason why they're there is because humanitarian efforts. We got to help these people, but we still have to provide protection for them. So you have those kind of team that would pick up their detail. And then you have advanced teams. So what it is they go out to every corner of that country, right, to establish intel. Like they'll go to the venue. And I was part of that a little bit, and it was pretty fun, right? But ambassador protection detail, they have a schedule, they have itinerary, because the ambassador has to meet certain people, from the host nation. And then the rest of the team, depends on, whatever. And if you're part of a QRF team, their job is basically going into the red zone, being in the general area, in case one of the team gets hit, and they'll go over and bail them out. And we had the TST team. So they had QRF, TST, and their main function, I think TST's main function was that they would go out to the red zone, and they'll have schedule, right? They'll have itinerary of all the teams that's going on. Very organized, it's not like, hey, let's go out and we're gonna do this. It's not like that.
Okay.
It was very coordinated, right?
That's good.
That's good. Yeah.
Exactly. Then we have the little birds that provided air support. I mean, Blackwater was pretty badass. We're very self-sufficient.
Yeah.
Rarely were we needed military support. As a matter of fact, in Afghanistan, Blackwater is the one that actually bailed out some military people when they got stranded and got attacked.
Yeah, I think it was on Sean Ryan's podcast. He was talking about how it was a National Guard unit that was literally about to die.
Right.
They got ambushed, and the
Right.
Blackwater guys was
Absolutely.
they
And
240 and just
they just happened to be in the area.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't like they heard the radio or anything like that. They were just in the area and they saw what was going on, and they went
Active,
over there
yeah.
and they smoked them.
Well, when you get a lot of tier 1 guys or prior military guys, that's what they're going to do on the whim anyways.
Yeah, they're all fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I'm serious. They're not sane.
Yeah.
They're true warriors.
Kind of
You
got
know?
to
Oh,
be.
yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely, right? And I learned so much from them, the tactics and everything else, right?
Right.
Which definitely benefited me now, you
Yeah.
know, what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It helped me professionally. They taught me the true meaning of brotherhood and what a professionals are. And of course, when we go out on missions, I mean, whew, these guys are squared away.
Yeah.
Downtime, my God, you know, frat boys, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You get drunk,
Course.
and all
Degenerates.
kinds, degenerates,
Yeah.
basically. But when we went on mission, boy, I tell you what,
Ton of work.
exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much the pros and the cons, I guess.
Yeah. From my understanding, you were the first Asian cop in Georgia.
Yeah, so, you know, I was trying to do some research after I talked to you about that, right?
Yeah.
And at the time, I thought there might have been this Chinese guy who might have started before I did, but come to find out it wasn't the case. So I think I am the first, not just Korean, because that's, you know, my background, but I think I was the first Asian law enforcement officer in the state of Georgia.
So how was that? What was that like? Did you get any backlash? And what year was this? around?
So this was 93,
Okay.
right? What was it like? Well, for starters, when I went to the academy, instructors didn't know how to deal with me.
This was after contracting and all that?
No, before.
Before?
Yeah,
Okay.
1993. Contracting happened.
2001, 6.
2000,
Yeah,
right.
gotcha.
I guess, so I went to this academy, right? It was like a paramilitary academy. And, you know, get on the bus, get off the bus, you know, that kind of deal.
Yeah.
And the instructor comes in and get off the bus, get on the bus. You know, I'm like, oh, shit. You know, so I'm getting off the bus and he looked at me and I looked at him and I thought he probably thought I didn't speak English or something, you know. So it was pretty unique. But, you know, it was cool. The academy, you know, I've always been the quiet guy, right?
Yeah.
I don't showcase or anything like that. You know, it doesn't matter where I go. If I'm there to learn, I'm going to keep my mouth shut. I'm going to learn. You know, I'm not there to showcase and show them what I know. That's not what it is, right?
Right.
So I've always been that guy who's always quiet. Right?
Okay.
I don't ever say anything until I get picked on. So my academy was very long. I mean, it's not long, very short compared to now, right?
Right.
The academy now is like what? I think
6 months.
6 months.
Yeah.
Mine was 8 weeks. 8 weeks when I started. Yeah,
Wow.
exactly. And so what was it like? I guess in a way they were kind of shocked and surprised, right? To see
Right.
an Asian person coming to the academy. And then that went pretty smooth. I didn't get really any kind of backlash because, you know, I did what was told, what was asked to do. And
Yeah.
I did it. And I was there. I was just there to learn, and I learned as much as I could. The beginning phase of law enforcement career, backlash. Yeah, I mean, I did receive a lot of racism and discrimination. I'm not gonna lie,
Yeah.
from both freaking end, right? From
Yeah.
the public as well as the people I work with.
Yeah.
Right. Funny story. I think I shared that with you. My rookie year, I stopped this lady for speeding. And, you know, of course, I did my thing, went up there, and, man, she rolls the window down about this much, asked for a license and proof of insurance registration. She gives it to me, and, you know, I told her, hey, the reason why I stopped you, you're doing, I don't know, 85, 60 miles an hour. So,
Yeah.
you know, that's pretty, fast.
Yeah.
And plus, you have a baby in the back. You know what I mean? So she was kind of like indifferent. And then I went back to my patrol car. And, you know, I don't like writing tickets. I really don't.
Yeah.
But, you know, I was rookie, so I was learning. So, you know, I wrote a ticket, came up, and I explained to her this ticket, citation, I need you to sign here. You know, it doesn't mean that you're admitting to the, charges, you know, if you want to come to court, blah, blah, blah. She takes a ticket pic from me, and she says, well, as you're signing, well, you can't give me a ticket anyway. I said, why is that? And she looked at me. I swear to God, I'll never forget, even after 25, 30 years later, she looked at me and she goes, you're not an American. And
Wow.
I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, please come to court. Explain that to the judge. You know, just feel the examples, right?
Yeah.
But it was all right, right?
Yeah.
You know, I'm not the type of person that because something bad happening, you know, I'm gonna just give up. That actually strengthened me more. Right?
Yeah.
You know, I come from a very, very honorable family. You know, all my family, like members, from my great grandfather to my grandfather to my father, they were all warriors. You know, my dad was a Rock Marine. My grandfather was one of the original Rock Marines. You know, so that kind of ran, you know, through my blood, I guess, right?
Right.
And I was always raised that way. So I started telling myself, you know what? I got to get better. I got to be better than them in everything that I do, physically, intellectually, skillfully, everything.
Right.
And that was the start of it, right? Because let me tell you, law enforcement training sucks. I'm gonna put it out there. Think about what you're learning in 8 weeks, right?
Right.
Even now, 6 months. I mean, think about the type of training you receive. It's not just firearms. You got to learn about the laws and, you know, everything else for that matter. But 8 weeks?
Right.
I did 1 day of firearms training, and I had to qualify. 1 day of defensive tactics. So if you didn't come with a certain skill set already, I mean, you're behind the curve. You know, I remember defensive tactics instructor, you know, right from the get-go, you know, how many of you, you know, here talking to us, the cadets, have been in a fight? I raised my hand, nobody else. How many of you guys been punched in the face? Me. How many of you guys know martial arts or any kind of training? Me.
That's
You
kind of
know?
racist right there. But
Right, but that was the thing, right? So that was a wake-up call for me right there. I'm like, holy crap, these guys are going to go into law enforcement dealing with some of the scum of the earth, you know, type of individuals, and you don't have any kind of freaking physical training. And then I went to the firearms training, and we did 1 day, you know, and they taught us how to do the teacup method, right? You know, of course, I've never held a firearm in my life until I actually went to the academy.
yeah.
I play with plenty of knives and swords, you know, being stereotypical, I guess. being Asian.
Ninja stars.
Yeah, but think about it. I grew up in Chicago. We didn't have guns up there. I mean,
Right.
the gun laws over there are just so strict, right?
Yeah.
So that's when I realized, oh my God, I gotta train more, right? And on top of the certain treatment that I was getting, you know, that's when kind of lit that fire, right? I got to be better than them. So, you know, back in the day, I'm even so nice, better now, but back in the day, they literally gave you 1 box of ammunition every year to qualify.
Right.
That was the extent of the training. You know, they didn't take us to the range, and, you know, so out of my own pocket, I had to spend money. I would go to the range like at least once a week
Okay.
to practice and train.
Yeah.
I had no idea what I was doing. And I watched a regular guy shoot. I was like, okay, maybe that's what I got to do. And I started honing in on my skill set to the point where now I was like maxing out the qualification, right? Everywhere doing qualification, I was getting hundreds and stuff. And they're like, damn, you know, and they were struggling. But, you know, you're shaking your head and you're nodding your head, I'm sorry, you know, thinking, well, that's good. But getting 100 on qualification don't mean jack.
Yeah.
That's just fundamentals. That
Right.
Just because you're scoring 100% doesn't mean that it's going to save your ass on the street when you really get involved in a gunfight.
Right.
But the guys that I was working with couldn't even do that. Right? There were very few of them who could shoot upper 90s, let alone 100. So I guess that's when I was kind of getting noticed from the upper chain. And then I was offered a SWAT position, and then I tried out, and, you know, I got in at 95, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, backlash, there were some, but it didn't hinder me at all. It actually made me better.
Fueled your butt. Yeah. I
Oh,
got you.
absolutely.
So from 92 to 95, that's how long. That's in my opinion, that's a pretty short amount of time to
Right.
get pretty good. And,
Right.
And whatnot.
That's because I trained every day.
Right.
Well, not to mention, I almost freaking died. Like literally 6 months out of the academy. I had just finished my FTO, and I was involved in my first shooting. There's law enforcement officers who goes through their entire 25, 30-year career not having to, take their gun out of their holster. For me, it was 6 months out of the academy. And I learned when I was going to the academy, like, if I don't train and practice, I'm going to get killed. So I kept practicing. So some of the things I would practice was we had this patent leather holster level 3, and you got to use your middle finger to unbutton this. You got to use your thumb to unlatch the top portion, and you got to twist the gun, and then you bring the gun out. Just imagine how slow you're going to be, right? And I hated that. So I was home every day. And I guess back then I didn't know what a dry firing practice was. That terminology didn't exist. It's common, terminology now, but back in the 90s. So that's, I guess, what I was doing, dry firing, exercise, practicing.
Right.
And I was standing in front of a mirror and, I was just trying to get the gun out of the holster as fast as I can. I'll practice. And then, of course, I talked to the older law enforcement guys, the old heads. They're like, what you want to do is get the holster out and you want to butter them inside and you got to grind it down and sand it down because it was leather.
Yeah.
So that your gun would be slick. I said, okay. So I started doing that. So 6 months, graduated from the academy, freshly out of FTO. I got assigned morning watch, patrol. So I was one of those kind of police officers who love catching burglars and, stuff like that. So I was patrolling the shopping center. And what I would do is, when you drive, it makes noise, right? So what I normally do is I'll park at the one end of the shopping center. And I get out of the car and I do foot patrol. And doing that like at 2 o'clock in the morning, you could hear everything. There's a burglar, breaking into a business or whatever. So I was doing that, and all of a sudden I hear like people screaming. And so there was a street behind this shopping center. So of course I started running. I didn't know what was going on. So when I came around the corner, at first I thought it was like they were fighting, right? So of course I got on the radio. I said, hey, I think there's a fight in progress. Give me some units. So I'm running up, yelling at them, hey. As I got closer, I see two guys like just beating on this freaking other guy, right? Two black dudes just drilling this one Hispanic guy. There was another Hispanic person who was already knocked unconscious, right? And I see this motion right here. And I don't know what it was, because of the distance. When I got up there, they saw me. They take off, go into the bushes, and there's an apartment complex right next to that, roadway. So I look down. There's a guy laying on the ground. His head is cracked open. You could see brain matter. And the guy that was getting the beating, he was intoxicated because I could smell the alcohol. But his face was it was a mess, probably broken, orbital, everything.
Yeah.
Incoherent. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So I'm calling for a medic now, right? And about the same time, I hear a tire screeching. And I just happened to look up, and the only thing I saw was a white sedan taking a right turn towards me. And the rear window was open, and I see a barrel of a shotgun coming out.
Goodness.
The distance from where the car was from where I was standing with the victim was probably about maybe less than 10 yards, right?
Wow.
So without even thinking, I grabbed the guy that was incoherent, and as I'm pulling him down, I went to reach for my gun. And I shot at the vehicle.
Yeah.
Right?
Of course, it's pointing a shotgun at you.
And then the car went the other way and I stopped shooting. By this time, everybody got there. And this is my first shooting. I'm 21 years old. Right? I'm 21. I was like in shock. I was like, what the hell did just happen? I didn't know whether I was shot or not. So, when the other officers got there, they checked, to see if I was shot or not. And I was good. And then the IA got there. Everybody was there. And they asked me like, hey, so what happened? So I'm telling them what happened. And I'll never forget the investigator goes, so how many rounds did you fire? I said, well, I shot him 3 times. you know. And he looked at me and he goes, no. I said, well, how many rounds did I shoot him? He goes, you shot 18 rounds, and then you have reloaded a fresh mag. And I didn't remember any of that,
Yeah.
right?
That's common.
Right.
That's what happens.
Again, I shot like shit, right, when I first started.
Like everybody.
Right, and when they told me that I hit all 18 rounds into the car, I was happy. Right? I was like, damn, yeah. And apparently, what I did was after I went dry, I reloaded and I was trying to re-engage, but the threat's not there anymore, right? The
Right.
vehicle's driving away, and then I saw a headlight coming, so that could have been a collateral, you know. So that's when I stopped. Well, apparently they found the vehicle about 4, 5, 6 hours later, and they found some dudes, you know,
Yep.
not alive, you
Yep.
know. And they found shotguns, and just like, you know, I stated. So that was the first experience.
That's a wild experience for 6 months on the road, and like
my
you
God,
said,
yeah.
some, and it's officers and people shouldn't pray and hope for violence, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't have to draw your gun, I don't want to say there are people that are just there to answer their
Right.
calls, and they're, like you said earlier, just usually don't care. They're there for a paycheck, and I have my own opinion about that. But so you have those type of people that run away from that kind of confrontation, and then you just have some people that's unlucky. Maybe they get moved to a different unit. They like to do financial crimes and are on the road,
Right.
whatever the case is. So I just want to, you know, even the Marine Corps, even the military, we've said it before on the podcast, but you know, we were wishing that we wanted to go practice or put into play what we practiced this
Correct.
whole time,
Correct.
not knowing what we wished upon ourselves and the heavy burden. But 6 months is crazy.
That was pretty interesting.
That's crazy.
But the funny thing is, again, and I'm glad you pointed that out. You know, there are people who are in law enforcement who should not be in law enforcement.
Yeah.
Just like everything.
I'm going to tell you that right now.
Yeah.
Because average person who went through that kind of traumatic experience, do you think they'll come back out and be able to work again?
Probably not.
No.
I don't think so.
But that didn't affect me at all. I didn't have any, PTSD. You know, of course, I had to take 3 days off. That's like department policy.
yeah.
And I had to go talk to a freaking the police psychiatrist or whatever, and he has to medically clear me, and which he did. You know, I'll never forget. I'll say his name, Dr. Smuckler, very chill guy, right?
Yeah.
I had to go see him. He's like, so tell me about what happened, and I told him. You have any nightmares? No. Do you have trouble sleeping at night? No. He asked me all this series of questions. And he goes, if you had to do it over again, if you had to relive that situation, what would you change? How would you, do things differently? I looked at him. I said, I wish I would have shot faster and had my second in magazine and faster and shoot more, to take out the fourth guy.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and goes, yeah, you're good. And he signed up. Going back to that story, it turns out those guys were committing a series of robberies that night. Started off in Atlanta, carjack, went to Cobb County, armed robbery there, went to Gwinnett County, went to DeKalb County.
Goodness.
They were going all over the places, and then they decided to come to where I was working. I guess that was the last place.
They fucked up.
Yeah, decided to rob these two Mexicans. Because, back then, a lot of the Mexicans in that area, they work construction and stuff like that, and they get paid cash.
Yeah.
And these two guys just went to a bar. They had a good time, walking around with a lot of cash in their pocket, and these guys knew that. And I think that's why they decided to rob them. But unlucky for them, I was there.
Lucky
and that was my first experience.
That's crazy.
But yeah, so again, there was another part that fueled me, right?
Yeah.
To get better. Like, damn.
Well, that's the trial by fire.
Yeah.
Where it's like, yep, I need like, it ain't someone just telling you.
Yeah.
Like, you're living it. Like, damn, I do need to get better. So that's crazy.
So the backlash you talked about, the type of mistreatment that I got, but not all of them were like that. I had a
Correct.
mentor. His name was Captain Robert Brown. Awesome dude.
Yeah.
He basically taught me everything there is to know about law enforcement. Nicest guy ever, right? I don't think he was racist. I think he just didn't really quite understood the culture. You know? And he actually, I guess he felt like he needed to save me, you know. So he invited me to his church, and he's a Southern Baptist. And boy, you know, Southern Baptist, wow. I went there one time, and I don't think I went back there again because I grew up Catholic, you know.
Yeah.
And when I went to his church, everybody come up to me and like, welcome, you know, like yelling, I guess. And that's what they did, right?
It's like rush hour when they
No, but that's exactly what it was back then. Seriously. They
like
felt
if they yell, they
Yeah,
don't understand
exactly.
English. If they thought you didn't speak English,
that's exactly what they did. It was like, oh, welcome. They're like treating me like a third world freaking country, you know, like I'm here to save you. I'm like, I look at them, you don't have to yell. I'm not deaf. You know, I speak English. but they were all nice folks, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And they didn't know any better. and you know, again, you know, I guess prejudice, discrimination, I guess, could be defined in several different ways.
correct.
Right?
Yeah.
And those people weren't racist or anything. They just didn't know
Yeah, they
the
were just
culture.
ignorant
How
to the
many
culture, yeah.
Asians do you think lived in Georgia back in the 90s?
Not a lot.
Korean population that I know, it was only about 2,800
Yeah.
when I moved down here,
Damn.
right? And I don't know about the other Asian population, but Koreans were only 28, right? 2,800 roughly.
Yeah.
I don't even think there was a grocery store back then, right?
Yeah. Now we got H Mart and
Oh my God.
Yeah, there's
Duluth.
everything over there.
Duluth is nothing but
Yeah.
Korean.
I mean, I remember my mom making kimchi just by going to grocery store and getting like cabbages and stuff, right?
trying to
Yeah.
make the
Yeah,
best of
trying
it.
to make the best of it. But now, yeah, you got H Mart, Ashi, and all kinds of
Yeah.
stuff.
See, bro, that's where that goes, bro.
I know.
But, you know,
Mart.
I had fun though. I mean, you know, and I learned a lot. But Captain Robert Brown was, I would say, he was my mentor.
That's
He
good.
really, really helped me get to the next level, how to be a good officer.
Yeah, there's normally only just a few bad apples where
Yeah.
they just, and the other rest of it's probably people that just don't understand. It's just new and they don't know how to handle it, so they just handle it however they're.
Let me just put it to this way.
Grown up
My
to be.
agency back then, obviously I was the only Asian.
Mm-hmm.
There was only one black officer and one Hispanic officer. That was my agency,
Yeah.
right? So, but yeah, I mean, it's all fun now that I look back. You
Yeah,
know, it's-
come a long way from
absolutely.
then and
we did
how
some
it is now.
crazy
and-
stuff too. You know?
Yeah. Were you always interested in being a cop?
Oh yeah.
Or
yeah.
was that
So you know how
just-
you ask your kids? Do you have any kids?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
so-
have one. Yeah.
So every time I remember my uncle, my parents, or anybody, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? You know how it is, Asian
Yeah, yeah.
culture.
Yeah.
You got to be a doctor,
Doctor,
lawyer,
lawyer,
engineer,
yeah.
lawyer, and stuff. I would
Yeah.
always say, I'm either going to be in the military or law enforcement.
Oh, then they were like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what they did. I get hit with a ruler. And they're like,
Yeah.
go study harder.
Yeah.
That never changed. To be honest with you, I wanted to be a pilot.
Okay.
I wanted to be what is that? The Top Gun. Is it F-16?
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Maverick.
Man,
yeah.
yeah, I wanted to be a pilot so bad, dude. But obviously back then, you got to have a perfect vision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think LASIK first came out during that time. They didn't recognize LASIK. You have to have a natural 20/20 vision.
Oh, okay.
So that didn't work out for me.
Yeah.
So naturally, I became a police officer.
I thought he was going to make a joke about our eyes.
I know.
Well, I will later on.
So, yeah, going into that, police officer, and then eventually you became the first cop to win the national shooting championship.
Yeah.
Which is-
2017.
The first cop to win.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Wow.
what led up to that?
Actually, let me clarify that. I believe the first cop in the state of Georgia for sure, right, to win a national
Gotcha.
anything.
Okay.
In the U.S., it's debatable, right? Because we all know who Rob Vogel is, right?
I've heard of him.
Rob Vogel is a world champion, freaking phenomenal shooter who lives up in, I think, Ohio or somewhere. It's like his family's from Germany, and absolutely phenomenal shooter, world champion. He used to shoot for like all these name, companies and stuff. And I believe he's a reserve police officer at a small town.
That don't count.
So if that counts, then he'll be the first.
don't
If not, then yes, I'll be the first one.
But definitely out of Georgia then. We can,
Yeah,
for sure.
definitely. let alone Asian.
Yeah,
Let's not forget.
Oh, there we
right?
go.
It's
All the
Asian
accolades.
anything, right?
So I've got the privilege to train a little bit with you. I think it was maybe like a 2 or 3 day span, and my shooting improved dramatically just from listening to you. Like you said, if you're there to gather information, I'm not there to showcase my work. I'm there to listen as much as I can and apply it. And then my biggest thing is, if you don't like what someone's telling you, try it. And if you don't end up liking it, leave the bad and take the good, right? Don't sit there and argue. There's no point to it. Right. But for me, my shooting improved dramatically, and I understood what you were saying. So what was the workup to where, just generally, I know you got on your own stuff, but how did you get to the level of competition winning that?
Good question. So I get asked that a lot, right? So let me just tell you this. Law enforcement, I'm just talking about pistol for now, right? They suck. Their skill set is horrible. I'm gonna be honest with you. But I didn't know that at the time when I was a police officer, right? I made SWAT. I'm shooting 100 on GSEC qualification. I thought I was a badass.
Yeah.
Go to the range, putting a hole like this at 7, 10, 15 yards. Oh yeah, I'm a shooter. And then, and plus I was a SWAT operator too, right? Carrying cool gear and stuff. I thought I was a shit. And then right after September 11, I joined the Air Marshal, and right off bat, first day, I'm like, Jesus Christ, I suck. I really suck, right? Mm-hmm. So within that short amount of time, I had to change my shooting style so I won't get freaking dropped from the training, right? Okay,
yeah.
Again, Air Marshal, I was class, I think. So I'm first group that got hired. Okay. So there was class 1, 2, and 3, and I believe my class was 3. But they're grouped into one. So I was one of the original ones that started. Again, same thing, just like Blackwater. We had 75 people started in my class. Only ended up graduating 15.
Yeah.
Every single one of them dropped because they couldn't qualify with the pistol. It was intense.
Wow.
Now, at my skill set, it's piece of cake. But back then, boy, I tell you what, I've never seen a grown man cry until when we were qualifying. So, the grip was all wrong. The grip that I thought I was using when I was shooting gun, it was all freaking ate up. And there was that one old instructor, I can't recall his real name. Again, he's got a call sign. I'll be honest with you, I think this guy was like a tier 1 fucking operator, dude. There were a lot of adjunct instructors teaching basic Air Marshal, and they were brought in from Delta Force and, those kind of guys.
Yeah.
And his call sign was Jackrabbit. I was like, what the fuck is a Jackrabbit? What the fuck is that? And I was shooting one day, and he taps on my shoulder. He goes, hey, I need you to change your grip. I said, what do you mean? He goes, if you shoot like that, you're not going to be able to make the time shot. Your recoil is horrible. I mean, he just fucking went off. I was like, okay. Again, I'm quiet, right?
Yeah.
I have no pride, no ego. I'm here to learn. So he showed me this thing, the new grip called the combat grip, where I'm able to better control the recoil of the weapon. Plus, we were shooting SIG 229, 357 caliber, right? It's freaking snappy as shit. I mean, it was horrible. And I had to learn real quick. So, and you guys are shooters, so you know how long it takes for you to try a new style and develop it and train with it until it becomes somewhat of a usable technique, right?
Or feels natural.
Right.
Yeah.
The countless hours and days and weeks and months of dry firing practicing and live fire to learn that, I had to do that like in 3 days, right? And I would practice every day in my dorm, right? Because I went to Artesia, New Mexico, the FLETC over there.
Yeah.
And I asked one of the instructors, I said, hey, can I get that blue gun? Because, you can't take a real gun over there. He said, why? Because I suck in my grip. I don't want to practice. He goes, yeah. So I took the blue gun. While everybody's fucking getting drunk and wasted after, I would be in my room dry firing the grip, right?
The grind that no one sees.
That's the difference, right?
Yep.
And then we were shooting 1,000 rounds a day.
That's a lot of That's a lot
You
of
had
shooting.
blisters. You had people showing up with tape or their fingers and stuff. I mean, I was cut up. We were shooting 1,000 rounds a day, 357.
Golly.
Horrible. So I passed. I passed Top Gun, right? After my class, because they were dropping so many freaking people, they lowered the standard of qualification.
Damn.
So we had to shoot what is called a TPC, which is a tactical pistol course. They had to reduce it to ATPC, something similar to like a regular police qualification.
That's messed up.
Right. So after anybody who finished the mandate for Air Marshal program, after class 3, they weren't shooters. They were just basically shooting.
Yeah.
We're the only ones that actually legitimately shot the original Air Marshal course of fire. And I passed this shit. You know, it was great. Let me tell you how intense it was. When you went to the range, they had you pack up your suitcase and bring it to the range. And there's 3 white vans.
Oh, in case you drop.
You have 2 opportunities to qualify.
Yeah.
And if you don't qualify, instructor will come right behind you and tap on your shoulder and they'll whisper, whatever. And that's when I seen dudes fucking crying.
Go home.
Seriously.
Yeah.
These guys are like, man, I quit my job to do this. I'm like, well, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And they had to leave the same day. And I'm thinking, oh, shit, you know, because I couldn't see my target. You know, they were scoring. And I didn't know, but somebody tapped on my shoulder. I'm like, fuck. And it was the guy that was shooting right next to me, you know, just asking a question. I looked at him, you're a motherfucker. So the qualification was the first phase. That's when you dropped everybody. And then the rest of the training comes in. So the training was 3 months long, right?
Yeah.
And then you got, you know, you had to know the law and all this other stuff that, you know, it's pretty similar to law enforcement, you know, local law enforcement academy kind of deal.
Okay.
And then I thought I was a shit again. Wow, you know, Air Marshal and Top Gun at that. And I was considered the top 1% shooter within the Air Marshal,
Wow.
you know. Basically, I think I was, you know, not tooting my own horns or anything, but I think I was the top shooter in my field office. So after graduating, I lucked out, and they gave me Atlanta field office as my
It's real lucky.
right, because you know you sign a mobility agreement when you become a Fed, and you know they ask name 3 locations. So I put Atlanta first. Number 2, since I'm from Chicago, I said I put Chicago down because I still have some family over there. And then 3rd place, I just put whatever. You know, if I didn't get the top 2, I don't care what you said to me. And when I graduated, they told me my assignment was going to be in Atlanta. I was like, oh man, that was awesome.
Great. Yeah.
So that was it, right? So I was an Air Marshal. I thought I could shoot. I was like, yeah, you know, I'm pretty badass. And I could shoot, you know, back then. Until I went to Blackwater and started shooting with the other fucking dudes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, I suck, right? Like, what the hell? You know, I see freaking guys with SEAL background, Delta fucking background, all this background. They're just phenomenal, man. I was like, wow. So I started learning from them, learning their tactics. You know, they're freaking awesome dudes, man. They'll back you up. They'll help you in which they can. You know, I've never met a single asshole or anything like that. Right? These guys were fucking top notch. It's probably because there was like a guy named his call sign was Mongo, and he acted like a big brother to me. And you know, he was a former SEAL. He's half Korean, half Irish. He's a little bit shorter than you, but wider. They call him Mongo because he's just strong as fuck. I literally saw him bench press 550 like it's nothing. Right? That's Mongo. And, you know, he took me in because I was the only Korean. It's like, he goes,
Asians stick together,
where
bro.
you from? I said, Atlanta, Georgia. He goes, no, where you from? You know, my ethnicity. He's like, yeah, South Korean. Okay. That's how we talk. And they call him Mongo. Oh my God, he drinks like crazy. I mean, I think he shoots up horse tranquilizer. I mean, you know, steroids. The guy's a beast, man.
Yeah.
Bad motherfucker. And he helped me a lot, right? He taught me a lot. So I'm like, okay, cool. And I know this story is kind of getting drawn up, but there's a point that I'm trying to make.
Yeah, you're good.
So I'm hanging out with these guys, I'm learning, and, you know, I was like, you know, I thought I was a shooter, but damn, you know, they're teaching me, like, what you're shooting is okay, but, you know, this combat shooting, you know, so we're learning from each other. I'm like, all right. So now, think about it. I went from law enforcement, SWAT, federal. I thought I was a shit, the best shooter. I come over here, I'm like nobody, so I'm learning from them. So I'm like, hell yeah, I'm a fucking awesome shooter. So I came home on one of my R&R. I got all this money in the fucking bank, and I want to go buy some toys. So I like guns. So I go to this gun store, and they have an indoor range. So I know the manager over there because I spent a lot of money buying different guns and shit like that.
Yeah.
And I look inside the range, and I see like 30 or 40 people inside the range, like doing something. So I looked at them, and I was like, hey, man, what the hell's going on in there? It looks like a cult meeting or something. He goes, no. These guys are like local shooters. I said, okay, why are they inside the range? Not inside, instead of being in the booth. No, they got this thing called IDPA. I said, what the fuck's IDPA? He goes, it's like a competitive shooting, whatever. If you like, I'll introduce you to the match director, and maybe you could shoot. I said, okay. So he introduced me to the match director, big burly guy, heavy set. And I didn't tell him what I did for a living. You know what I mean? And they made me watch this freaking 15-minute safety freaking video. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, should I tell him? But, again, I was like, okay, well, whatever. So he goes, all right, this is how it is. This is the scenario. There's a stage or you got to shoot. I don't know any rules or freaking penalties or whatever, right?
Right.
I was like, all right. So I'm watching people shoot, and I was like, okay, this is confusing as fuck, and I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. Like, there's so many freaking targets and shit like that. I'm like, what the hell? So the guy says, no, all you got to do is just shoot. I said, all right. So there was like 30 or 40 guys. And because there's so many people, they only did like 3 stages. I got my ass beat, okay, by this 5'6", 280-pound plumber. He literally destroyed me. Now, think about that, right? I'm learning. I'm hanging out with guys, tier 1 status. All my life in law enforcement, I'm like, shit, Top Gun. And I go over there and I lose to this freaking plumber. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Okay, I got a lot of penalties for like procedural violations, and my shots were good, but and I quickly learned like, holy shit, the shit that I was doing, the shooting I was doing is nothing. This is what's really required, right? In real life scenario type.
Right.
And that's when I started to take interest. So for 30 days, I was home. I'll go to the range every day. I find out where there's local matches. I'll go to every range that had local matches. I had to learn. And I started learning. The thing about me, I don't know, I got this very unique ability to watch something and learn it very quickly. And I'm able to regurgitate it. Now, of course, I don't just watch it and learn it and just not practice. I would put that much, effort into it.
Right.
And I had this personality, like, if I can't do something right, it just drives me crazy. I got to figure out why I can't do it, solve it, and I got to be able to perform it. So I think that's what accelerated me, right? So I did that for about first few years, right? Going back and forth. And one day they said, all right, Ken, I think you're pretty good. Let's go ahead and get you classified. I said, what the hell is classified? And he says, well, it gives you a rank. That's what it is. So in IDPA, the rank is you got novice, marksman, sharpshooter, expert, master. And then there's the top distinguished master. The only way for you to get distinguished master is if you win any kind of national championship, or you come within 3% time-wise to the national champion of that event that you shot. So it's like really, really difficult to obtain, right? So I shot my first classified, and I classified as an expert. So I wasn't even a master. But by then, I could see my skill set, night and day difference.
Yeah.
And I would learn from this regular civilians. And I come to accept the fact that, wow, law enforcement, military, we're decades behind in shooting, right? And I started figuring out, okay, now granted, if you do strictly competition shooting, yeah, you're going to be better than most, but when it really involves like life and death tactical situation, they'll be behind, right?
Yeah.
So what I did was I picked and choose the best method and incorporated into the tactics and the experience that I possess and made it into mine. So I will bring that logic and the skill set back to Iraq, and that's what I started teaching people. And that's what I made a little name for myself. So if you were in Iraq or Afghanistan or Hilla and you didn't know this little Asian Korean guy, you're a fraud. Because I was the only freaking Asian guy there anyway, right, at the time. And plus, who could basically outshoot everybody. Now I was outshooting everybody. I was like, yeah, the guy's a SEAL. Okay. No disrespect. You know. Appreciate, great job, all the service, all the sacrifice you made. You know. So my thing is this: I don't care what you did previously. To me, what's important is what do you bring now, right? You were a SEAL back in the fucking 70s during Vietnam. I mean, the tactics and shooting have evolved, right?
Right.
If you're a true operator, you need to constantly evolve, right?
Right.
But you know how we are. We're all competitive and shit. We give each other shit. So all of a sudden, I started out shooting everybody and teaching everything, and that's how everybody got better.
It's good.
Then I come back, and then I decided to get out of law enforcement. I mean, contracting a while, right? And I was forced. I started competing. So I competed in my first state sanction level, and I beat everybody in the expert class. So I got promoted to a master level. So now I'm master. There's 5 different weapon systems that you could get classified. So I did SSP, which is service stock, just stock guns, right? Only modification allowed was like basically you could change the sight. That's it.
Okay.
And then there's ESP, which is enhanced service pistol. You could start modifying the grip of the gun, you know, trigger and all that stuff. So I stuck to SSP. I like stock guns. And that's basically how I started, right? And I started winning state championships. Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi. They didn't like that. They didn't like this little Asian guy beating fucking everybody.
Especially in Mississippi, Alabama.
Yeah.
North Carolina. I went down to Florida, Texas. And I think I got like close to about 20-something state championship, you know, awards and plaques and all that stuff.
Damn.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So now I felt comfortable. So I decided, you know what, let me try this U.S. national stuff. So 2016, I signed up. So the way you qualify is you have to shoot so many sanctioned matches and you get points. And then that qualifies you to shoot the U.S. national championships. So I did 2016. Out of, I think there was like 500 something competitors shooting different divisions and stuff. I think my very first U.S. national, I placed like within the top 30.
It's great.
But I didn't win, so it's not great,
Yeah.
right?
Well, yeah.
So I'm like, okay, what the F? You know, what did I do? And I thought about it, and I started studying the video, because, you know, I had that little GoPro cam, you know. So many mistakes. I think the biggest mistake was my mental freaking deficiency.
Okay.
I choked. This is a national championship. Oh, my God. You know, performance anxiety, making mistakes that I would never normally make on any of the other matches. And of course, there's some other areas that I need to improve on. So I was like, you know what? I need to do this a little bit more. So the introduction to the competitive shooting for me was 2013. 2017 comes around. I won Alabama, all these other matches. So I got enough points. And then I finally win CCP division in 2017 U.S. IDPA National Championship. And I finally won it.
It's amazing.
So it went from 13, and I won my national in 17. So how many years is that? 5? No,
Yeah.
4. 4 years. So it took me 4 years.
We're supposed to be good at math.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why I got into competitive shooting. And I guess during that time, there was a lot of backlash too. How many Asian competitive shooters do you know of?
One.
There's another guy
Just
named
you?
There's another guy named Kim Hwan-shik. He does USPSA. You know, if you think about it, JJ Ricard's KCU CBO. Those were former AMU guys that went pro after they got out of the military. I guess you could consider them Asian, although they're kind of Filipinos. We don't really consider Filipinos Asians, but you got those guys. But literally, compared to, all the other races, right?
Right.
We're the minority of the minority of the minority, all right? Mm-hmm. So I'm glad you brought up Mississippi. So I go over there. They don't know who the hell I am.
No.
I'm shooting, and we're shooting in different squads and stuff, And then we all go to this central location where they do the award ceremony. They post the results. Then I go over there and look, and it says Ken Park, division champion. I said, okay. So I guess I'm going to stay for, my trophy. So I'm sitting around, and you got all these people. I'm the only Asian. Felt very out of place. So they call out third place, second place, from different divisions. And the overall champion, Ken Park. Mm-hmm. So my name, Ken Park, doesn't sound Asian, right? If you look at the thing, Ken Park does not sound Asian, right? So nobody knew. So when they called my name and I got up there and everybody kind of all turned and their eyes got this big, I'm like, who the hell is that? So I go over there and get my award, shook hands, and blah, blah, blah. So after the award ceremony, I'm just kind of packing my things up, and this guy came up to me. He goes, he was congratulating, but he was kind of sarcastic at the same time, He says, yeah, you might have won this one, but I don't think you could do well in the national level, and that's where the true shooters are. And like I said, that motivates me. Right?
All right, motherfucker, watch this.
Really? So
watch
I
this.
looked at him, and before I left, and I said, I want you to remember my face. Remember my name, Ken Park. And I will win the U.S. National one day. And that was like literally year after that I won. So it was 2016 when he said that. And I'm, I don't get angry. I really don't.
Yeah.
I just, okay, you just motivated me even more. So I'm just going to train hard. So that's how I won my first U.S. National anything.
It's an amazing journey. That's
not bad.
Did you jump from expert to the top, or was it as you
No,
won?
so once I made master,
Master,
now you
yeah.
stay in master level. So
Gotcha.
I'm a 5-gun master and 1 distinguished master.
What's the distinguished?
The one I won, U.S. National.
But that was the stock guns,
right?
Okay, gotcha.
CCP.
What did the so when you initially came into the range, what was it consist of when you got there? Like when you got to the range the first time you got
To the range, as in the private range.
yeah, the first time you got introduced to it,
Mm-hmm.
and what did that consist of as far as the shooting inside the range? It's just
Yeah, so it's like a smaller version of outdoor matches, right? So you got a bay, shooting
Okay.
bay, and you got shooting booth, right? So everybody goes inside the bay, and they use like tarps, and they'll put like different targets at different locations.
okay.
And then they'll do a stage walkthrough and stuff. Like you starting point here, this is how many rounds you're gonna shoot, and you figure out the rest, kind of deal.
Okay.
And that's basically what it is. So
Okay.
there's portions where you got to shoot behind cover. There's portions where you could shoot on the move. You got to do a tactical reload, combat speed reload. You got to shoot from squatted position. So it all depends on the stage design. And
Okay.
that's what I loved about the competitive shooting, right?
Right.
Because think about law enforcement shooting. All we do is static.
Yeah.
Now, if you're in SWAT, you do a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
You train to shoot on the move, maybe a little bit behind the cover. But it wasn't dynamic. And that's the missing element that I was looking for.
Yeah.
And that's what competitive shooting gave me,
Okay.
that the missing puzzle. Like, I know what I'm doing is okay, but something's missing.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I saw that competitive shooting, like, this was it right here.
Right.
So it almost felt like my shooting journey got kind of fulfilled now, right? How realistic can we really train for a realistic scenario? You can't,
Yeah.
right? So then you implement competitive shooting style, putting barricades, different props, swinging moving targets.
Yeah.
Target that comes down like this, the
Yeah.
target that comes, towards you. I mean, some of the stage designers are pretty impressive, right?
Yeah.
They'll put like T-shirt on a target, right? So when you shoot, you got to make sure you shoot. But how do you know where you shot? So that allows you to do what? Shot calling.
Yeah.
Based on how the shot, your gun is recoiling, based on the last sight picture, you have a general idea whether you hit the center or you missed a shot. So when you get to that top level, when I shoot an array of target, let's say there's like 5 targets, I'm like, I might have to go back to the second one and shoot in a split second because I know my second shot on the second target, the last sight picture I didn't like. So I'll come back. Stuff like that.
Damn.
But law enforcement shooting, they don't teach that crap.
Right.
Right? Now it's more competitive because, back then we didn't have carry optics and shit like that. We have all iron sights.
Yeah.
But now we have pistol optics.
Right.
So shooting's like a lot faster now. And if I were to go back to competitive shooting, I think I'll fare well. But man, there's so many younger kids with better vision. I mean, my eyesight's going, my knee hurts. I can't move like I used to, but I still give them hell. But it's a lot faster now. Because of the equipment they have improved.
Which is good.
Right, and look at some of the guns coming out with like a spring where it would allow you to mitigate recoil that much faster. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know if you've seen the new sight that the Marine Corps has. It's or it might be the Army, but they just came out with it and they're supposed to deck out every gun with it. Whenever you laser a target through the sight, it'll automatically adjust itself to where it's always center mass.
Damn,
It's
pretty
electronic.
impressive.
Oh, yeah.
So that way they can just start shooting, and if they need to go to the next target, they can mark it. So if they're shooting at like a some kind of compound, they can mark that compound, and it'll tell you in this. It's got a rangefinder. It'll tell you it's 700 meters, and then the dot will adjust.
Wow.
And all you got to do is when you go back to that picture, the dot will adjust itself, and you start shooting.
I think I've seen something like that on YouTube. It's a scope.
Yeah, it's like 10 grand.
And all you're doing is just aim, and it'll do everything. All you got to do is just press the trigger, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
They're making it 10 times easier now.
Right. I heard that scope. Excuse me. I'm sorry. My eyes like it.
No, you're good.
I think I saw it. Yeah, I saw it on YouTube a long time ago when it was a prototype. So I guess the Marines definitely adapted.
It's either the Marines or the Army. Marines get everything secondhand, but here lately they've been trying to improve stuff. So
that's pretty good. That's Marine proof. You guys went from having red crayon in the front sight to all high tech.
Well, that's one thing I wish the Marine, in military in general, it would improve on. Because again, when we went through our process and qualified, that's all. Majority of it was stagnant. Now, later they started bringing in, combat, qualifications, and you had moving targets from side to side, but nothing crazy to where it's either coming to you. Now, we did have, when we did room clearing and stuff, they had targets stagnant in certain positions, but I wish they could incorporate that.
So imagine you're making entry, and you cut that corner, and the target all of a sudden freaking bum rushes you.
Right.
Why can't you have a target system like that?
Exactly.
Have it on a track.
Yeah, because that's the only time you ever got other experience that is in real life.
Right.
And that's
So
not
as
the
you
time.
come in, and at best you got a static target at the end of the freaking room.
Yeah.
That's still better than nothing, but still, do something else.
And it's probably in a deep corner where they're
Right.
always at.
Or in the middle of the room, have like a furniture and a target behind. As you breach that door, there's a laser sensor, right? They have that in competitive shooting.
Oh,
you
really?
have to go through a laser, and that activates a target like this.
Wow.
And you got to engage it.
Dude,
That's
So
crazy.
Right. So why can't we have something like that in law enforcement military training?
Yeah.
Right.
It's got to come down to money and people, and actually people caring.
Well, I had this similar conversation with a couple of my buddies. I mean, I guess this one guy, he was a PMI. He was a Marine Corps, PMI. And I was kind of talking to him about that. And this is what he said. He goes, listen, think about the boot camp, right? We have so many days to push through so many freaking soldiers, get them trained up,
Yeah.
right? He said it's literally unrealistic. Now, for special operations community, I'm sure they do stuff like that. I know SEALs, they'll go to, was it LJ, I think? Bill Rogers Reactive Shooting School. And I've seen top shooters that actually, not top shooters, but tier 1 guys going over there to train under him.
Okay.
So, those guys get all the freaking money,
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
all the toys. I
Yeah.
mean, they get all the cool toys and stuff like
Oh,
that.
Yeah, they have a special skill set too, and,
Oh,
and they're
absolutely.
training that stuff
Right.
every day.
Like I said, mad respect.
For sure.
They earn everything they got, and there's a reason why they call them the best of the best of the best.
Yeah,
Of course, I hear like Delta, who's better, Delta, SEAL Team 6. Man, in my eyes, they're fucking both good.
Yeah.
If shit is the fan, I want both of them coming.
yeah, give me everyone.
Yeah.
We talked about it like, even though there is debates about who's better and who's not, whatever the case is. We've talked about it. I'm not one of them, so I can't really say that they're whatever. But they're all great at what they're supposed to do, and that's what makes them so great. And then past that, they're well rounded at everything else. They may not be like experts in certain things, but they know enough to where they're close. But that
Correct.
one job that they're assigned to do, that's what they're known for. They're phenomenal.
But it's not just tier 1 guys either. I mean, you got like, for example, like who's better, the Marines or the Rangers? I don't
Marines.
care.
No, it's Marines.
No, but here's the thing, though. I want all of you guys coming. If I'm, a heap of trouble, right?
Yeah.
But you're right. I got a lot of freaking Marines, right?
Yeah.
My buddies and stuff, and they're brutal.
Yeah, we always give
that
us,
shit
we
crazy.
give everybody hell. We're the only thing I wish we wasn't known for is being assholes.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, no, I mean,
everyone-
they're not. So here's the thing, though. What constitutes being an asshole, right?
well, we're just really cocky, especially first out of the Marine Corps, out of the boot camp. They
As
think
you
we're hot
should
shit.
be, right?
No, we're not. Though.
No, you got to be cocky. You got to be tough, right?
Yeah.
You have a certain reputation to uphold. Devil dogs, leathernecks. I mean, shit. My father was a Rock Marine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, our dad
One
was
of the
too.
baddest freaking motherfuckers I know.
Yeah.
Right. And he's the only one that I was afraid of. I'm not afraid of anybody else except him.
Yeah, Dak can
I
kick my
mean,
ass,
he
I'm pretty
passed
sure.
away 3 years ago, but even at his later age, like in the 80s, like late 70s, he still used to beat my ass if I did something wrong,
Yeah.
I miss him, but yeah, Marines are good, fucking Rangers. I mean, you're going to have those few assholes here and there, I guess,
Yeah.
wannabes, but
We talked about it before, but just being humble.
Yeah.
Meeting you for the first time, not knowing who you were, kind of hearing about your accolades and all that. I was expecting someone to come in and be like, because I've met cocky SEALs and whatnot, but I've also met, majority of them are pretty humble. But meeting you, I was like, oh, this guy's probably going to be cocky, whatever. And I was like, but let me just see what he says. And then it was like, you didn't say a word, and you were like, I'm just here to help, whatever you want me to do. And I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I'm Korean. I was like, me too. I was
So-
like,
so
we
think
gonna
about it, right?
get along just fine.
obviously when I wear my uniform, I got that tactile uniform and stuff. But when I'm in my civilian, right, carrying a little man purse, walking to a mall, I don't look no different than a typical old Asian guy with gray hair until shit hits the fan and I kill everybody. So I like that. I like that anonymity, right? I like to stay under the radar.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of stories like that too, But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess I learned this from other guys too. When you reach a certain point, you don't really need to say anything.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
martial arts, for example, right? The true freaking top-notch martial artists, they don't want to fight. They'll
Yeah.
apologize. I'm sorry, dude. And they try to walk away. They try to diffuse the situation, and only as a last resort, they have to.
Yeah.
They're not the type that go out there and I'm gonna kick your head, break your head. I'm MMA this, whatever. And I think that's true in a sense because looking back. When I was younger in my 20s, right, going to the 30s and the 40s, as I'm going through that journey, I saw my side. I was cocky in my 20s. I thought I was the shit, And now I'm in my 50s and I'll reflect back on it, and I truly understood what my Grandmaster, had taught me, what my grandfather had taught me, what my father had taught me. He used to tell me that be like rice. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? So when you ever go to a rice field in Korea, when they first plant the seed, it starts to sprout, right? And the stem is like very straight and up and proud, right? Always, almost seems like as if they got something to prove, right? And as they start to ripen, you start to see rice, the nuggets form at the end. And finally, it starts to mature, and it does this right here. It bends all the way down, right? And I'm like, okay, well, that's science, that's physics. It's heavy on top, right? And now I understand what they meant at my age, right? As you develop your skill set and you start to master your trade and your craftsmanship and your skill set, you don't really have nothing to prove to anybody,
Right.
because if anything happens and situation arises, you're just gonna take action,
Right.
Yeah.
right? I don't need to go out there and tell people, hey, look at me, this is what I could do. You don't really have to do that.
Right.
There aren't that many people that I really shared my competitive journey. I think you guys are the first one that I actually started talking in depth about this.
Wow. Well, then we appreciate it.
Yeah.
People ask about Blackwater. Ooh, Blackwater, wow.
Well, they got a really bad rep for something they did. I can't remember.
Yeah, so,
But that was later on throughout the war.
a lot of people have this misnotion, like, these guys are baby killers, mercenaries. But, I mean, I'll be frank with you. Blackwater guys are some of the most decorated military veterans who's retired. Hone in on, master their freaking skills, right?
Right.
And they join the private side. That's all it is.
Yeah.
As a contractor, we have to hold, when we started, we had to have TS clearances. So I had TS SCI clearance. So it was easy for me to transition because I had a TS SCI clearance when I was an Air Marshal. Yeah. So it was easy, right? Although it was a different entity, right? So you have to get a separate one, DOJ, from DOJ to DOD and whatever. So these guys all possess TS SCI. You guys all know what it takes to get the kind of clearances,
it takes a
and
lot.
in order to maintain it. Of course, they kind of downgraded to like secret clearances.
Yeah.
OGA contract guys, shit, they still have to get TS SCI clearance, right? I remember when I was going through the clearance process, the investigator, this investigator went to Chicago, went to my elementary school where I attended, right?
Wow.
And tried to locate anyone who remembered me and tried to get my information.
Damn.
So during the interview process, the guy's like, it's kind of concerning, Mr. Park, that went to elementary school and nobody seemed to know who you are, other than the record that had your name. And I looked at him, I said, wouldn't it be opposite? Like after 30, 40 years, wouldn't it be weird if they did remember me?
Yeah.
Right.
Right? There's only two types that people will remember, right? One's a psychopath. The other one's somebody who's so spectacular, genius. Well, I assure you, I'm not a genius, right? So, of course, it's normal for them, right? So that's what they had to do, right? The short time that I lived in Korea, they literally sent a packet to the attaché over there to do a background check on the neighbors where I lived in Korea a little bit.
That's crazy.
Right.
That's
So
really
think
in-depth.
about it. So these people had this notion like this Blackwater guys are a bunch of irresponsible, crazy, baby killing freaking maniacs. But no, these guys are highly decorated military personnel who still possess secret at a minimum clearances.
Yeah.
Right. Now, yes, there are some bad apples, no matter where you go.
Right.
But the true freaking operators that I dealt with, no, man, we were legit,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? And then later down the line, I don't know, they might have lowered the standards. A few people might have slipped through the cracks or whatever, and they gave bad reputation. But nothing we did over there was illegal in any sense, right?
Right.
We were
Yeah.
there to do the job, and we didn't attack. We responded when we got attacked,
Right.
Right.
right? Different mission, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The protection mission is not to go out. Our job is to get off the X. In the process, if you get blocked or get jammed up, then we're gonna fight our way through.
Right.
But just because we got attacked, we're not gonna go chase them down and start freaking, smoke everybody. That's not what we did on the protection side. Now there's different, separate unit who did all that shit.
Yeah.
And I think it was political assassination, basically against Eric Prince from, I'll get into politics a little bit. And I think what happened was the government, both Republicans and Democrats, felt that Eric Prince was getting too powerful. He was dominating. He was planning on starting a PMC, private military.
Damn.
Right? At one point, we're in the process of getting miniguns mounted on our little birds. He was going to build a freaking landing strip in Moyoc to land airplanes so we could deploy our guys from training facility straight in the Middle East without utilizing any commercial airlines.
Wow.
Right? And this is fact. How long would it take for a battalion to mobilize from the start of the conflict to making the decision to deploy the battalion size, unit, whether it's Army, Marines, or whatever, to a AO? How long do you think it takes?
Do you mean starting from the U.S.?
U.S., right.
Probably
It
a while.
took a while,
It took us 3 days. Oh no, it took us almost a week to get to Spain.
Right.
And that was
but I'm
just
talking
one
about
ship.
a battalion size, right? I'm talking about logistics and
Well,
everything.
yeah, I mean, you're probably looking at
Months
maybe
on end.
a couple
Right.
months or so.
Probably
Yeah.
Blackwater could do that in 48 hours.
A battalion size? That's insane, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, with the
that-
quick reaction forces now, but
No,
from the
I'm talking
U.S.
about a battalion side.
Yeah.
And
There's
Eric Prince was creating a company that could mobilize anywhere in the world, 48 hours,
that's
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah.
right? So tell me why they were afraid.
Yeah, that's one.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. And then he had a lot of other stuff from what I understand. I mean, he wrote a book, and there's like some podcast that he did with, who's that guy, Sean?
Sean Ryan.
Ryan,
Yeah.
Where he actually kind of talked about that stuff too, and a lot of CIA, contract, had a lot of, I don't know exactly what it is he did, it's above my pay grade.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and that's what they were so afraid of. I think.
I mentioned that to him even in the previous podcast that we did, but I thought about doing the same thing because I got out in 09. And I didn't know anything about contracting. I
Right.
just heard,
Right.
it kind of fell on the same lines of what I did, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do when I got out. So when I heard, there was a group called Blackwater and Triple Canopy. Those are the only two I heard.
So they're together, and the Constellus Group bought Blackwater and Triple Canopy.
Oh, okay.
And I think there's two other smaller companies. So Constellus bought all of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but they
Yeah.
still have same training facilities. Going to be in Moyoc, North Carolina. And although they're under the same corporation, they still have their own entity, I guess.
Yeah.
So Triple Canopy still advertises, Academy still advertises, and some of the other two companies.
Yeah.
They do different kind of contracts, I guess, and they still have some contracts in Iraq, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A buddy of mine asked me if I wanted to go to Erbil, and I was like, "No, I'm done. I can't contract anymore. I'm
Yeah.
tired.
Yeah.
Really am.
I'm tired. My knees hurt.
My knees
Yeah.
hurt. I mean,
Well, yeah, I heard the same thing during that time was that they were the news or whatever it was that I forgot where I read it, but they were mercenaries and they were just killing people left and right. And I was like,
Yeah.
no, I don't think I want to go into something like that because I didn't really, and at the same time I didn't do my homework on,
Right.
Reading into it.
Right.
I just heard that and I was like, no, I'm gonna back off from that.
Well, I mean, there's no way for you to have known anyway.
Yeah.
So let me tell you this. So like 05, 06, 07, Blackwater was the only one that was using Suburbans. Okay, the level 6 up armored Suburbans. All these other smaller companies were using like Toyota Land Cruisers, like different freaking armor thing. And then one day, everybody started using black Suburbans. You know why that is?
To be like Blackwater.
Right? You know why?
Reputation?
When we rolled out, like I said, we don't attack, but when we get hit, it's kind of like messing with a hornet's nest.
Yeah.
Right? We will fuck you up.
Right.
So this terrorist cell elements and stuff like that, when they see black Suburbans rolling in, it was a common knowledge that don't fuck with those guys.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't mess with the motorcade that has black Suburbans.
Yeah.
They'll kill you.
Yeah.
fuck with the other guys. Right? No,
Yeah.
seriously.
Yeah.
You know, IDs or Phoebes, whatever. Fuck with the other guys. Don't mess with the Blackwater guys. And the next thing you know, everybody started buying the Suburbans. As a matter of fact, you know, there were some companies from like South Africa, like, you know, Australia, I don't even know, like some British companies. They started using Blackwater flag on some of their freaking inappropriate activities.
Okay.
You know, we had think about it, we were under a strict Department of State, U.S. Department of State freaking policy, right? We're not breaking that. Like, of course, when we first got there, it was like Wild Wild West, right?
Yeah.
And you have that writing, you know, don't come within 300 meters of our motorcade. You know, if they did, then you got the ass monkey open the fucking hatch, and that 240, the 249 comes out, and you're gonna have rounds to your fucking engine block and shit.
Yeah.
And then that changed from that to we could throw water bottles at them. And then that changed that from water bottles to we have to warn them now, you know.
Yeah.
And then if they don't, and then we throw a water bottle.
Yeah.
And then if they don't, and then we could shoot with a regular rifle. So yeah, we're under strict, you know, policy.
That's with any conflict. I mean, even the military Marines, the ROEs were pretty loose in the beginning because they didn't know what they were getting into, and then they were like, we're killing this many people, whatever. The news gets, you know, starts twisting stuff, whatever the case may be. So then that's when when I know you talked about it, but even in our training, they were like this line, and then this line, and then there's a giant red line that if they passed it and you're past that line, the machine gunners are open up and you need to haul your ass back.
And I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know how many people you're gonna be able to reach with this podcast, but I'm telling you with 100% certainty, Blackwater guys did not go out there and do some of the things that a lot of people are thinking we did. I assure you that. Because if you did, guess what would happen? You would have been fired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They would have fired your ass right there. And why would anybody want to give up on getting $500, $600, $700, $800 a day kind of job for stupid shit?
Right.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
Yeah.
Plus, when an incident like that happens, the Iraqis or the locals, what do? They file a complaint, right? That's a common occurrence. State Department figures out the complaint, goes through the list of what team was out in the general area. So it's not hard to find out.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And they would get so many complaints, and we look at it, it's like, no, our team wasn't in that side. No, our team wasn't in that area. Come to find out, you got all these little freaking small wannabe fucking companies that bought secondhand freaking Suburbans and stuff, going around and acting like they're Blackwater and creating all kinds of craziness.
Yeah.
And then we proved that over and over again. But perception, right?
Yeah.
You know, Blackwater, whoa, you know.
Yeah.
But no, man, you know, it wasn't like that at all.
I don't know. Hopefully, we're just starting out, so may breach a bunch, may not.
Yeah.
That's not the point of this. The point of it is for someone as with your skill set and your knowledge and who you are, let people know. And other Marines, other military guys, a lot of guys reach out to us on TikTok and on the channel of just what their options are and what it's really like. And if they want to get into competitive shooting, they can, you know, whatever the case may be. That's basically the whole point of it. It's not to down or praise any kind of entity. It's just to tell you what the raw stuff is that you can't get from a agenda twisted media almost. So it's like, what is it? Someone that's been through it for one. Because to me, it's like you can tell me what the Marine Corps is like, but if you're not a Marine, why am I listening to you?
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? Why do I think your stuff's valid?
I mean, like, you know, Blackwater wasn't just, you know, they didn't just do protection for like, you know, the protection work for like whips and stuff like that. They have other contracts too. Yeah. The most famous, you know, the movie 13 Hours.
Yeah.
The GRS group, those are part of Blackwater OGA group. 0 Dark 30, you know, when that guy blew himself up in the compound, that was a Blackwater static. So those guys at the checkpoint, those are static freaking OGA guys.
Damn.
Oh.
Right? So Blackwater, I'm telling you, they advertise mainly on the whips, but they have a lot of other umbrella, you know, contracts.
We'll almost wrap it up here, but I wanted to see for you, because I've learned a lot from you for shooting. I'm telling you, it was just like I think it was 2 days, and then applying him showing us and teaching us, and then me and one of my buddies that I work with, we're going out there and applying it and trying to figure out. Like he said, I saw him do it. He showed me how to do it. What am I supposed to be looking at? And then we applied it because we cared on our off time. Dramatic increase, man. It's like he said, I got Top Gun from other stuff, and then I was, shooting great, shooting 199 or 98s, whatever the case was. Thinking I was hot stuff, but my fundamentals were pretty decent. But then it was like, well, what about combat shooting?
Yeah.
Well, what is combat shooting? And then I was explaining, I was like, let me try it, and I was god awful.
Yeah.
I was god awful after some of the stuff, and then afterwards, I was like, I need to start training this more because this gives me another step to being more realistic than just shooting at a paper target.
Right.
So,
well, but another thing is, in the Marines, we didn't really do much pistol training.
No,
and all that, I think I did one qualification, but other than that, majority of ours was, it consists of with a rifle.
Yeah.
And then a lot of it was stagnant. So, again, I don't bring it up or like you said, go out and say, oh, I'm the best. But, I remember I told you that, we had that competition on base where we had a rifle qualification. And the CO was like, anybody who can outshoot me, you can leave from the field 3 days early and you can be at the barracks while we're still out here, So I was just trying to do my best. But in the end, I found out that I tied with it was like a gunny or something on Camp Lejeune of having the best score. And that wasn't even my goal. My goal was just to outshoot the CO at the time, So, yeah, I mean, there's always something to learn and improve your skill set. And, it's not like I'm out here saying that I'm the best shot on Camp Lejeune. You know what I mean? Like,
rifle shooting, man, go do, there's a lot of 2-gun matches, too, where you do rifle and pistol. And then there's 3 guns. 3 guns is just too tiring. You run too much. It costs too much money. You got to carry this little freaking cart with all kinds of crap.
So you have to pay personally to get in these competitions?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You got to pay for your own crap.
Okay.
Now, once you get to that certain level and you're recognized, then you got industry calling you, like sponsoring you and stuff.
Okay.
I'll give you ammo, or I'll give you a gun, if you wear my jersey, or I'll pay for your entry fee. But I was never interested in that.
Yeah.
The reason why I competed is, number one, I want to get better myself.
Right.
And number two, when I got better, I want to pass that knowledge and information to my fellow law enforcement and military guys, right? And that was the only 2 reasons why I competed. Well, third, because some asshole told me that I couldn't do it. And I had to represent the Asian community. But yeah, I know we're running out of time, but one thing I could say is if you're in law enforcement and military, start competing, competition shooting. That will, I'm going to tell you something, that will get you better. That right there will take you to the next level.
And anybody can go in and do it.
Anybody can
You don't
do
have to have prior military
No.
knowledge. Okay.
Outshined by a plumber when he first started.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Competitive shooting it started with the civilians.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
And they constantly kick law enforcement and military guys' ass every time.
Yeah.
And that's what I try to do. I try to pass that information. But I don't know. Cops are lazy as crap. They don't want to do shit.
Yeah.
All they want to do is do their freaking 40 hours, and they don't want to hone in on their skill set, and it's disgusting.
And now they don't want to hone in on it until something bad happens.
Exactly.
And
then
when
something bad happens, they shit themselves.
It's too late.
Then it's too late. Yeah.
But they need to train. They really do. And, I could say it because I lived it and I saw it and I still see it.
Yeah.
Law enforcement training sucks. They need to change. And I don't know what it's going to take. I think it starts with each individual department.
Yeah.
The command staff, the chief has to recognize that. And they have to allocate whatever budget towards training more.
Right. That's what I was going to ask. You think it's because of the money?
Probably.
Yeah.
Because ammunition, they're not cheap.
Right.
Right. And plus, if you take away working officer away from their on duty and then you take them to the range, you're taking them off shift, right?
Yeah.
Right.
If you bring them in their off day, what you got to do, you got to pay them overtime.
Yeah.
Right. But aside from that, I think each individual officer, if they value their lives, I think they need to go out and train.
Damn.
I like that.
It's deep.
Right?
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Like, think about the equipment, right? Like, I see a lot of guys that I work with. Oh, they don't give me this. They don't give me that. If you look at my gear, 95% of it are mine.
Okay.
And the rest of it is just bare minimum that the agency gave me. And the optics, for example, I mean, I'm not afraid to spend $1,000, $2,000 on a weapon system or optic because my life is worth more than that.
Right.
So I'm not going to wait for my agents to freaking give me a $250 piece of shit optic.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Seriously, think
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna carry the best stuff because I want to go home every day.
Yeah.
And but most importantly, optics and gears and guns, it's all cool and stuff. But if you don't have the skill set to utilize it,
They're useless.
then you're not gonna go home.
Yeah.
And the reason why a lot of officers think, I don't need this, I don't need this, because they haven't met that one percenter.
Yeah.
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 And
One that's good.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'll just say this. When I train, I have a mindset of what if I have to encounter somebody at my skill set or better?
Oh.
What are you going to do? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to give up.
Right,
But at
for
the
sure.
same time, I'm not going to let you kill me easily.
Right.
So that's what I think about.
Right.
And when I teach my guys, that's exactly what I say. As you're training, I want you to picture those targets, the bad guys, and they have my skill set. When you're responding to a call, barricaded gunmen, hostage situation, hostage takers are tier 1 fucking guys who got out of the military. They have PTSD and they say, "Fuck this! I'm tired of living. I'm gonna take everybody out." Those are the kind of guys that you're gonna go up against. How are you gonna handle yourself then?
Right.
Yeah.
Right? So I think the main thing that needs to change is each individual officer who are in this profession, they have to change their mindset. This is not just a job. I mean, holy crap, dude.
Yeah.
This job is bad, right? So if you don't have the skill set, then it makes it 10 times, 100 times, more difficult.
Kind of got to be messed up to kind of want to do the job.
Exactly.
For sure. Well, I wanted to ask you for the viewers, what can you give us? I know it's going to be hard to narrow this down, but what are 3 tips that if they're watching, how they can improve their gunfighting abilities?
So it's kind of hard to really answer that, right? Because everyone has a different skill set.
Correct.
So it really depends on your skill set, right? But to generalize it, I think the first thing you need to recognize is this. Don't train something that you're good at. Identify that you suck at, and then you train. Like, for example, how often do you train shooting with your left hand?
Not as often as I should.
Right. But you suck at it, right? Compared to right hand.
Correct.
So I'm going to start shooting. So my left hand shooting is just as effective as my right hand shooting. And my right hand shooting is just as effective as shooting with both hands. Right. So identify what your weaknesses are, and then you train, right? Second is dry fire. I mean, I'm not rich. Ammo costs money. I don't have range that's readily available to me, right?
Right.
So even with a skill set that I have, which isn't much, my
This guy.
training regimen consists of 70 to 80% dry fire and then 20 to 30% live fire, right? So I would go home, like, for example, when I put my uniform on in the morning before I go to work, I'll practice drawing and dry firing, whether it's 10 reps, 20 reps. That's how I start my day. Do my stuff. I go home. Before I take my clothes off, guess what I do?
Dry fire.
I dry fire 10 to 20 reps, whether it's magazine reloads, drawing from the holster, using cover, trigger manipulation. It doesn't matter. Whatever I decide to do, I'm going to do it because shooting is perishable skills, right? So don't be lazy. So as long as you're going to be using that weapon system for whatever reasons, practice, 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 right? And the third thing is always seek information, right? Always look for ways to make yourself better. There's freaking plenty of YouTube, like, top shooters on YouTube, right? Now there's some idiots on YouTube too, but some of them, I don't know, like Larry Vickers, right? That's a pretty good guy.
Yeah.
Some of the top level guys who are in the industry, it's not hard to find.
No, it's not.
Who's that guy? DJ Shipley. He's got a YouTube, right? He was a former SEAL 6, I guess. He's a pretty good dude.
He was tier 1, yeah.
Was tier 1, right?
Yeah.
He has actually videos and stuff like that, tips and stuff. I think he's kind of slow, but he's all right.
Sounds like a challenge. Sounds like a challenge.
No, but there's information out there where you could, right?
Right.
So instead of freaking pulling up porn and beating yourself, just look for fucking YouTube and get into stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the top 3 that I could think of.
Yeah, I think, in those 3, there's like 6 other tips. Just don't be lazy.
Absolutely.
So that's,
I could talk about this for days on end. So aside from the 3, so my training program that I developed is called the 4 Pillars of Gunfighting.
Okay.
And I'll just tell you this. Pillar 1 is mastering fundamentals.
Yep.
Right? Fundamentals allows you to what? Hit the target on demand, anytime. So master that. Second pillar is mastering weapons handling skills, whether as drawing, magazine reloads, malfunction clearing drills, right? Handling, practice, right? That's something you could do dry fire, right?
Yeah.
The third pillar is it's an acronym that I created, VSPS, mastering the VSPS, which is various shooting positions and style. Don't resort to static shooting. So my philosophy is if I could shoot and hit a target standing, I should be able to hit it sitting, laying on my back, on my stomach, on my side, on the move. It doesn't fucking matter. Whatever shooting position style that I have, I should be able to hit it, right? So you got to master that. And the fourth, which is the most important, mastering your own self, self-discipline.
Yeah.
Having the discipline to put in the time and effort, because this is what controls the first 3.
Yeah.
So think about it. So let's say you master the fundamentals. You could shoot target at any distance. Like I consistently shoot target at 250 yards, right, with my pistol, right? Okay, but that's not gonna make me a combat shooter? No. I just mastered it. So now I practice the areas that I'm weak in. Man, I suck at drawing. Okay, we'll practice. Well, I suck at reload, right? We'll practice.
Yeah.
When I was competing, that's what I did. I did a target-specific training. Like, I felt like my magazine reload was, really slow. So I practiced mag reload. Got to the point where I blindfolded myself and do a mag change without even looking. I got to a point where I could insert a new mag before this mag that I just hit the button hits the deck, right? And then slide forward, ready to fire. Stuff like that. So 4 pillars of gunfighting. And if you could master those 4, then you're gonna be pretty good.
Yeah. I'm waiting for this book to come out whenever he gets a little, finally gets up there. Go read it.
You're like about I don't know how many people.
That means you should do it. That means you should do it. I'll definitely buy it and read it. It's been a great pleasure to have you on. It's even a more honor and pleasure to know you and continue to work with you. We see each other at least once or twice a month, in our crossings. We really appreciate you coming on. I know you said it's the first one, so thank you. We're not big, but hey, don't know how many people will see it, but it was just, like I said, it's for those that are able to watch, and they might come across it and it might help them out. So that's
well, I appreciate you guys having me. This was fun. I had the ability to kind of relive,
the glory days.
Yeah, glory days.
And we also got to, make sure the Korean nation's always up.
Absolutely. And that's the reason why I came onto this, because you're half Korean.
Guys, thank you guys so much for watching. We have the merch down in the link below. Follow us on social media. If you guys have anything else, we will leave us a comment. Hit us up on TikTok. We'll welcome to answer any questions that you guys may think that we missed on, or whatever the case is. But we appreciate you guys liking and supporting, subscribing, and watching every week. We drop an episode every Saturday. So thank you guys again, Ken Park. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.